Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and today I'm going to be going over MPhaser and how to get some vintage sounds, maybe like some Uni-vibe type sounds, etc. out of it. I'm going to show you, of course, the basic features, and then I'll show you some maybe atypical things that maybe you didn't know, I hope. So let's get started. First, I have just this guitar example. I'm using M Turbo Amp and M Cabinet. And I'm just going to go through here. It's bypass, and this is just the normal guitar sound. So there you have it. Now I have this on default. I'll let you hear this, and this actually sounds all right to me, but this isn't really what we want. I have this going before M Turbo Amp and M Cabinet. You could put it afterwards. One thing I should note is right now it's in stereo, and M Turbo Amp actually does process stereo inputs. However, lots of amp simulators won't, so you may not want to do this, and I'll show you how to get rid of that. But let's just hear it on the default settings. Like I said, that's all right, but I'm going to show you how you can adjust some things and make it sound a little bit more vintage. So the first thing I talked about here was the width. Now it's at 180 degrees, so this is going to give you stereo width, but obviously lots of old stomp boxes and things aren't going to have any width, so we're going to put that at 0. The first thing I like to do is actually change the dry wet to 100%. I know this seems strange, like what are you doing? Why are you putting it 100%? But trust me, it'll make sense. The mode, it's at 4 now. I usually like to put it at 3. I believe a Uni-vibe actually has 3 here. And I'll let you hear it now. Also, I'll turn the sync off. That's just a personal choice. So you can sync it up to the tempo, or you can have it, here, use the rate like this. Let's hear it now. So now it seems like it's really subtle, and you're thinking like, what's wrong? There's nothing necessarily wrong here, and you could use this. But what I like to do to vary the intensity is instead of using the wet-dry, actually use the feedback and the minimum and maximum frequency. So let's check that out. If we move this up, let's try like -2 here or so. Let's put the limiter on in case it gets loud. So now you're getting a really intense phaser there. Now you could think, that's great. That's exactly what I want. That wow, wow, wow. But sometimes you're like, I'm getting too much like low end. I don't want that. And to do that, adjust the minimum and maximum frequencies. That will really make a difference in what it sounds like. So let me play it again, and I'm going to adjust the minimum frequency and bring that up, and you can see how it will reduce or increase that high end, or say low end in this case. So let me do that for you. Now, I generally like it around like 300 hertz. If you really want more like wow, like that, move it down to like 100 or so, but I like it 300. And the same thing goes for the max frequency. That high end, that's really going to spike the higher you put it up. If you want it a little bit more subtle, move it down to like 1,000. So let's try it someplace like this, and let's hear what this sounds like. To me, that's sounding really nice. Now, we can adjust the feedback here, and I usually think of this like the intensity. I'll move this down and up so you can hear what it sounds like as it's going through one more time. As you can hear on silence, it sounds almost like it's bypassed. So that's why I said I use this like an intensity knob. If I move it all the way up, then you're getting lots of wow, wow, and things like that. But if you have it down, you hear it like it's nothing. So you can vary that very easily. Of course, rate is easy to understand, but there's one more thing here that will really change the sound. So if we leave this here, right now we're getting a wow, wow, wow. But imagine if you wanted a different one like wow, wow, wow. It's like, how do you do that? I'm giving the worst descriptors. But if we invert the feedback polarity, it will change the sound quite significantly. So let's hear it again, and I'll do it without the inverted feedback on. This is what we had before. Invert the polarity. You hear that whoa, whoa? That's what we're getting there. And we can do the same thing. So for that, it sounds much darker. So I might want to increase the max frequency here. So by doing that, adjusting the feedback, the minimum and maximum frequency, and also using this invert feedback polarity, you can get actually a lot of different tones out of this phaser without even adjusting the mode or the width or anything else. There's all sorts of things we can do with that. And of course, you can adjust the shape here. I have it on sine wave, which I think sounds the best, but of course you could use triangle, square wave, that might sound crazy, or a sawtooth wave. If you don't like this, like for example, I don't like this, sawtooth wave going down like this, just go into advanced and invert it here. And you see now it goes up. So you can change it from this way or this way. And I believe that'll work for the other ones like the sine wave, if for some reason you wanted to change that. But another way is if you don't like the phase here, you can just drag this over and change the phase. And if you're like, I can't get it back to where it was, just double click and it moves back automatically. To be honest, 99% of the time, I don't care about that, but I just wanted to show that to you in case you care for some reason. You need that, phase change. I know sometimes at the beginning of a song, you're like, I don't like how it goes up here at the beginning. I want it to, go down. You can just drag this over and change the phase so you can get that. I know sometimes that is annoying and you do care about that, especially when it's synced up. So that's how you do that. But basically, all I want to do is show you those things. And here, if you want to, you can attach these to, let's say, a multi-parameter. So I change this multi-parameter 1 to the feedback and label it intensity, or I could, have this both control the minimum and maximum to make it almost like a bandpass filter. So I could increase the intensity. You can do whatever you want, but using this, there's all sorts of like really cool vintage sounds, or even not vintage, maybe like new sounds that you can come up with that you never heard out of a phaser. And of course, if you have MPhaser MB, you can do this and so much more. But hopefully this gave you some ideas of things you can do with MPhaser. If you like this, give me a thumbs up, leave me any questions or comments down below, and check out all the other plugins at meldaproduction.com. Till next time, see you.